Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's thrilling plot. Lao Wu felt a bit relieved. The dumb donkey cop was lying, so he asked the second question. Is Shenmei in the house? Huan Mo nodded vigorously, confirming it again. Lao Wu thought to himself, things were getting clearer. Are there any neighbors near that house? This time, Huan Mo shook his head. It looked like Shenmei was in the wilderness. Lao Wu asked if that house was a bungalow, and Huan Mo replied yes. Lao Wu then asked if that house was a warehouse. Huan Mo, furious, exited the car, yanked open the driver's door, told Lao Wu to scram, and got a call from Xiaotu. He had just received word that the area near the port was crawling with plainclothes cops, and the boat that was supposed to take him off the hook had already fled. Lao Wu was at a loss. Huan Mo began to give Lao Wu a frisk, and found a phone, which he tossed to the ground and smashed with his foot. Then he raised his gun and declared the game over. Shenmei would pay the price. Lao Wu was again in danger, curled up in pain facing a gun, when he suddenly had the bright idea. He said the rules of the game were about successful smuggling. He'd go grab a new boat right away and make sure Huan Mo was good to go. By the time Domi tracked down Li Xin's phone, Lao Wu and Huan Mo had vanished. At that point, they had already arrived at Mokpo Port. Lao Wu was thinking hard when he dialed Big Fat's phone. Half asleep, Big Fat answered, only to hear Lao Wu yelling from the other end. Didn't you used to be in the mob? From Mokpo? Find a fast smuggling boat. Big Fat was stunned for seconds before snapping back. He asked Lao Wu what kind of madness was this at midnight, and Lao Wu replied in a low, threatening tone, I just handled a few problems at the service area. If you don't believe me, check the news online. Big Fat, confused, looked up trending news and indeed found a hot topic. Once he remembered bullying Lao Wu, he quickly called his friends to get rid of this hot mess. It wasn't long before Lao Wu arrived at the address Big Fat provided, knocking on the door of a staffing agency asking if Boss Zheng was in. Li Shen was the first to reach the port. He stopped a local guy and asked if he was waiting for Huan Mo. The fellow hesitated before the boat had already left. If Li Shen wanted to smuggle, he'd have to negotiate with his boss. At that moment, the guy's boss was eyeing them. He never expected cops nowadays to be so bold, knocking on doors in uniform at midnight. It was truly jaw-dropping. What's going on? Did someone send the kids to school or something? It was only then Lao Wu realized he was still in a young cop's outfit. He hurriedly explained he wasn't a cop, but Boss Zheng wasn't having any of it, rolling his eyes. He hated lies more than anything, and two lackeys quickly grabbed Lao Wu, pinning him to the table. Boss Zheng didn't waste time on details. He grabbed something and was ready to strike, giving Lao Wu no chance to explain. After that night of chaos, Lao Wu was already numb. He claimed to be a serial killer, dressed in a young cop's uniform, stating he just He also claimed he was responsible for the service area incident, and Boss Zheng stood up, asking why he should help. Lao Wu said he had a mental illness, and if Boss Zheng didn't help, he'd just face a decade or more in prison. Once he got out, he'd track down every person involved, including parents and siblings. If their kids got married and had children, their spouses and grandkids wouldn't escape either. The whole family would get the treatment. A few minutes later, Domu and his squad arrived, surrounding the building in no time. Huan Mo sensed trouble, got out early, and sneaked over to Dam's car, giving the tire a puncture. Boss Zheng had just set up a smuggling boat when his lackeys found themselves surrounded by the cops. Lao Wu, totally oblivious, was enjoying the spectacle, wondering who the unlucky fellow was until Huan Mo yanked him away. He initially planned to chase them down, but then he noticed the tires were flat. He could only complain internally as he rushed off. The duo reached the port, watching the smuggling boat near. Lao Wu grabbed Huan Mo, asking about Shenmei. Meanwhile, Malin followed the police to Pudju, finding Huan Mo's childhood home, but it was empty inside. Huan Mo revealed an address, handing over Shenmei's phone and a finger. Lao Wu painfully unlocked the phone. He dialed his wife's number, telling her to come immediately and not to call. Okay, he'll be right there. Huan Mo opened the trunk, intending to take the suitcase with him. Seizing the moment, Lao Wu grabbed the gun from Huan Mo's waist, threatening he wasn't going anywhere until Shenmei was found. Don't move, stay put. What Lao Wu didn't expect was that Huan Mo would say something quite revealing. Actually, Shenmei has been here all along. After saying that, he looked at the suitcase beside Lao Wu's gaze followed suit, while on the other side, Malin and the cops arrived at the warehouse. They found Shenmei's work ID on a meat grinder, while Huan Mo pulled out a package from the suitcase. He carefully set it down on the ground, and Lao Wu, trembling, squatted down to slowly peel back the plastic wrap, revealing a head. It was indeed his daughter Shenmei's head. How dare he still accuse me of not understanding anything at all? Who's insulting you? At this very moment, Lao Wu, who had lost control of his emotions, had completely lost his mind. He lunged at Huan Mo like a madman, only to get stabbed in the gut. The adrenaline dulled the pain as he held on tight to Huan Mo. But Huan Mo kicked him into the icy water, just as Li Shen arrived on the scene. Don't forget to like and subscribe.